Don Jr. has very explicitly stated he didn't even know the name of the person with whom he was meeting. He agreed to the meeting based on a contact from the Miss Universe pageant. They get into the meeting, and it quickly turns into a pretext for Russian adoption, according to his statements, that the comments this woman were making about any type of information on Hillary Clinton were vague, they were meaningless. Others exited the meeting very quickly. The meeting itself was very brief. There was no information given. There was no action taken. There was no follow-up. And let me just respectfully say, as well as I can, I don't think anybody had to look very far to find damaging information on Hillary Clinton or negative information.
He still decided to take a meeting with somebody.
No, it's not beside the point. She provided it in a live loop
with him. So it wasn't just, let's have lunch. He brought two very important people with him. It's a credibility issue as to whether or not he knew who he was meeting with. I don't know what should be more troubling to you, that he would take a meeting not knowing who it was, but it was important enough to bring Jared or Manafort, or that Donald Jr. would knowingly meet with someone with Kremlin connections on the basis of getting Oppo research about Hillary Clinton. There are huge legal and ethical implications to that decision, as you know.
You keep saying, no, I'm not going to agree with you on that. First of all, you keep on saying opposition research the way you guys constantly vomit words like collusion and Russian interference and affecting the election, all of which you have no evidence. We cannot convert wishful thinking into hard evidence. If
Don
you and I were in
Jr.
court
said
right now,
that she had information about the DNC and Russians and funding Hillary. What do you call it?
Chris, you were just, okay, listen, you were just able to speak 2 minutes uninterrupted, and I frankly think it was more punditry than reporting. So I would like to respond now.
Please,
my friend. First of all, if you and I were in court right now, your side would not even survive a motion to dismiss, a motion for summary judgment, because you got nothing. Okay, on this one, Don Jr. has very clearly said he was told that there would be some kind of information helpful to the campaign. It quickly became very apparent there was not. Let me say something about who goes into these meetings in the Trump campaign. We were a very small operation. I was not involved in June, but I was involved in July, and I became the campaign manager in August. It's very typical to have principals in the meeting. We had a fraction of the staff and a fraction of the money that they had over there in Clinton Inc. in Brooklyn. So it's very typical that people like that would be. You're trying to have your viewers think, oh my God, because these three principals were in there, it was imbued with some type of seriousness that just simply is not true. This was standard operating procedure for the campaign. Let's focus on what did not happen in that meeting. No information provided that was meaningful, no action taken, nothing.
Let's focus on what did happen. The woman stated that she had information that individuals connected to Russia were funding the Democratic National Committee and supporting Ms. Clinton. That's from Donald Jr.'s statement. That's why he went to the meeting.
Right. And apparently she didn't.
That is a problem, though, taking that meeting, because it goes to one of the questions of this investigation, which is, was Russia trying to get to your campaign for purposes of affecting the election? And this is Don Jr.'s own statement about it, a statement which has changed now twice about what this meeting was. That doesn't raise legitimate concerns.
Chris, you keep on saying Russia. What did this woman say? Why was she there?
This is the word that Trump Jr. used, Russia.
Excuse me?
He used the word Russia. She had information that individuals connected to Russia were funding the Democratic National Committee and supporting Mrs. Clinton. These are his words.
And then he went on to say,
this is why he took the meeting.
And then he went on to say what? No, you got to give the whole statement to be fair to him and to be fair to your viewers. Let's stop chopping it up.
He then says,
to go viral
put
with
the statement up. Put the statement up. You're the one who's parsing, not me. Put the statement up.
Statement up. Let's do it.
Put it up. Put it up. Our faces are nice.
Listening.
Put the statement up. After pleasantries were exchanged, the woman stated that she had information that individuals connected to Russia, his word, were funding the Democratic National Committee and supporting Ms. Clinton. Her statements were vague, ambiguous, and made no sense. No details or supporting information was provided or even offered. It quickly became clear she had no meaningful information. 2 points. One, even if you accept everything he says is true, and there's a credibility issue because he's changed his story twice. I'm sure you do.
Not.
He's changed his story twice. You talked about being in a court of law. Not good when you change your story. There are actual big exceptions to the law for credibility when you change your story like this. Second of all, even if it is all true, whether or not it was good information, Kellyanne, doesn't mean that it was a smart move to take a meeting with a Russian-connected person who was going to give you negative information about your opponent. That could create huge legal issues. You know that.
I admire your moxie sitting there with the CNN Chiron right near you talking about credibility issues.
Listen,
a couple weeks you guys
I could not be more proud to have that CNN Chiron next to me. I could not be more proud to have it.
I could not be more proud here representing the White House on CNN.
And I'm glad you are. I want you here because of that. It's not supposed to be an argument. I'm saying this question started with, why did the president change his position about working with Russia? You spun it over to this. That was my original question.
Wait,
I never got an answer to it.
The president? What do you mean the president changed his story? The president had nothing to do with this meeting.
No, I understand that. I'm saying I asked you originally.
You wanted to produce something because you're invested in months now as a network in something that simply doesn't exist.
No, that's an assumption by you,
and
it's an unfair premise.
No, Chris. That's not true. Here's the unfair premise, that we are talking about this again, yet again, that you talk about Russia more than you talk about America, that the big bombshell of the day is Jim Comey having classified information, conversations with the President of the United States in his memorandum.
How do you know that?
Oh, because he's got a credibility issue, because I read the article in The Hill.
You read the Hill article that has officials familiar with the documents. So unnamed sources are okay for you on Comey, but not okay for you anywhere else, huh?
I didn't say that.
You've said it many times, my friend.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Unnamed sources is the new code word for you guys for fake news.
I'm glad that we moved on.
But it's okay on Comey.
I've actually never uttered those two words either. But anyway, the fact is that is a bombshell that people should know about.
It's a bomb. So that report is a bombshell based on unnamed sources.
You just want to interrupt me today.
No, because listen, no, Kellyanne,
as your grandmother would tell you, Ashpeta, Chris, listen to me.
No, my mother would tell me. You know she's a fan of yours.
I'd like to answer. Well, there you go.
Go ahead, answer.
I'd love her back, but listen, I'd love her back, Matilda Cuomo. But listen, this is very simple. That's a bombshell by Jim Comey because the whole country watched him testify. It was supposed to be some big Super Bowl-like event. And then what did we learn? We learned him saying, I felt as a private citizen I should release this information. Oh, but I also gave it to my friend so he would leak it to the media with the expectation it would trigger a special counsel. What was in that information? Apparently, it contained classified information because this man was the FBI director having 9 conversations with the president.
Look, if it's true,
this doesn't concern you at all.
If it's true, absolutely.
This doesn't concern you that the FBI director is doing what Hillary Clinton did the year before?
It all concerns me.
Which is just being so willy-nilly with classified confidential information. She did it with her server.
Me, but I just have to smile at the suggestion from the same White House that calls unnamed sources not a legitimate basis for journalism. Now you're leaning on it so heavily because it suits you. But what I'm saying, it all matters to me. It all matters to me. That's why we asked the questions. But the president saying that he wanted to work with Russia on cybersecurity and then saying, no, he doesn't want to, it was just a discussion, that is a concern. That's why he got so much criticism for it. That's what I asked you about originally.
But you don't want to talk about the Syria ceasefire. You don't want to talk about the fact that these two countries, Russia and the United States, may be able to come together on other issues that are vexing our world, like containing or defeating or putting in retreat ISIS, for example. That they're talking about a nuclear capable North Korea.
I think if there's a real ceasefire in Syria, it matters. This working with Russia on cybersecurity matters. Don Jr. changing his story about meeting with Russians when he said he never did. He said it openly and publicly, called the suggestion fake news. Then he says he did meet. Then he says it was to get bad information about Hillary Clinton. This all matters and sheds light on an investigation that you say doesn't matter. But it proves that it does matter because these questions matter. What light does it shed?
Hold on, because you and I are lawyers who never practice law, which is why we're happy people.
I practiced law for several years, but continue.